Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. Now from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, here's Martha Zoller on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
Hello, my name is Janice Mann. I'm a retired sheriff with Jackson County Sheriff's Office. I'm here today to tell you about my support and endorsement for Attorney General Chris Carr for Governor of Georgia. During my tenure as sheriff, I had to call on Attorney General Carr many times. He was always there to answer my questions and concerns when I called. He is a big supporter of law enforcement, and that is why I am supporting him for Governor of Georgia, and I hope you will also.
So, Janice Magnum, one of my favorite people. I just love her. It's the Martha Zoller Show. I've got GG Mack here with me today. And Gigi, we're going to get to know a little bit better later on, but we are so thankful because she bid at my sister's place gala for the opportunity to sit in with me.
Yes.
So you're here today, and you'll get to learn a lot about radio.
I'm excited.
That's right. It's going to be great. We're going to have a great
Thanks for having
time.
me.
And joining me right now is Attorney General Chris Carr, who is running for governor. He qualified yesterday. He's who I'm supporting, and I look forward to having him here today. Welcome back, Chris. How are you?
Well, hello, Martha Zoller. First of all, I'm glad you are back. That makes me feel better.
Me too.
I'm so glad you have a guest in studio today too.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back, Chris. It was a rude awakening when I had that heart attack on February the 5th. But it was, I had great care. We got a great level 1 trauma center here. Literally once they got to, I actually had the heart attack at church, which is probably a good place to have it. And when the EMS guys came in, shout out to Fire Station 16, they said, "Oh, hey, Miss Zoller, you and your husband bought us breakfast a couple of months ago." When that happened, I knew I was going to be okay.
That's exactly right. See, that's why, again, you treat people well to treat them well, but it does come back to health, doesn't it?
That's right. That's absolutely right. So listen, you've had a big year running for governor, and you qualified yesterday. Just give us an update.
Yeah, I was the first one to qualify for governor. And Martha, this is what it comes down to. If you are a Republican and you want to keep this state red, it comes down to who actually should be the governor, who has the record, who has the history, who has the results. Having Janice Mangum talk about my record with law enforcement means the world to me because I'm like you. She's one of my favorite people in the world. But the other thing, Martha, it has to be about winning in November. And I'll tell you, the person that's going to win the governor's race in November of 2026 is not the person that has the most money and one endorsement. We've tried that. Democrats have now won 6 times in the past 5 years statewide in Georgia. And every time we put up a candidate that says, I got the most money and I got one endorsement, we lose. You have to be able to appeal to the persuadable independent voter that's growing in the state. And they care about jobs, safety, education, affordability, don't really want to talk about social issues the way the right and the left have, and candidate quality matters. That candidate's me, the only one that can win the primary and the general in November 2026.
Yeah, and I think, it would be remiss of me not to mention that we've had this big thing happen in Georgia politics in the last few weeks where a candidate that no one was expecting to get in, and Rick Jackson, got in to the race. And I mean, you can't deny that he's brought a lot of attention to it. So how do you, I know you're addressing it with what you're saying, but how do you address that? Because I know I'm getting the question everywhere I go. I know you're getting the question everywhere you go.
Yeah, well, first of all, I have great respect for Rick Jackson. He's been a supporter of mine. I'm a capitalist. I have nothing but great respect for anybody that builds a business, hires people, and so, again, have always had respect for him. That doesn't mean, though, that anyone just that has a lot of money is going to be a good candidate. I mean, look at the history of this state, Martha. I mean, ask David Perdue, Kelly Loeffler, Herschel, people I supported, Herman Cain, Roy Barnes, Guy Milner, Michael Coles. I mean, there are decades of examples of how self-funders don't win races. Ask Brian Kemp. He was in 3rd place in the beginning of May 2018, but he got in the runoff, and we call him governor today. Nathan Deal was in 3rd place a week before the July primary. We did primaries in July back then. He got in the primary we call him governor today. And everybody laughed when Sonny Perdue said he was going to run for governor, but we call him governor, chancellor, and secretary today. It is about hard work. It's about relationships. It is about I've raised more money for our campaign than any candidate that's in the race. I mean, Rick's putting in money, and the lieutenant governor put in some money, and so did the secretary of state, which means there's 3 guys trying to buy this nomination and 1 guy trying to earn it. That's me.
Well, I'm glad. I just wanted to ask you that question because that's the number one question I got from listeners when I promoted that you were coming on the program. They wanted to know what you thought about this. So I'm glad you answered that question. Now you're going to
absolutely.
You're going to be in Hall County on Thursday. Tell us about that.
I am. Got a couple of different events. Going to speak at the Boy Scouts, the gala Thursday night, but we're also doing a meet and greet from 4:45 to 5:45 at the Long Street Cafe on Riverside Terrace. So if your listeners are available, love to have them come by again. 4:45 to 5:45 at the Long Street Cafe.
So also tell us what's going on. You've got some big cases that have come to fruition related to human trafficking and protecting Georgians. Give us an update on that too.
We just had a great result. Unfortunately, it was a case, Martha, that dealt with a 16-year-old who was a victim, and it involved Snapchat. And we had a defendant from Hart County, not Hall County, Hart County, and we investigated that case. But that's just another example. Martha, you and I have talked about human trafficking, and there's any way there are for 2 human beings to communicate, human trafficking and other criminal activity can occur, but we just see it constantly, unfortunately, with social media. So whether it's human trafficking or whether it's just the mental health issues, and I know the legislature is debating a bill that would expand the ban of cell phones in schools. I know that can be a little bit controversial for people, but I'm all for it going all the way through high school. I mean, we just see the results from suicides are up, mental health issues are up. So again, being able to deal with human trafficking and gangs, organized retail theft, a big issue. But Martha, there's a couple bills in the legislature too. Here we are just talking about what's going on in the Middle East, and God bless our men and women in uniform and those in the armed services also of the state of Israel and other allies that are standing with us. But we have a bill in the legislature right now. It is a federal crime to materially support terrorist organizations, but it's not a state crime. So we introduced a bill last year. But Martha, for some reason, I just can't get that through the Senate. It just seems like the lieutenant governor hasn't gotten on board with making it a crime to materially support terrorist organizations. Seems like that should be a win-win for all of us. And with Janice talking about the support for law enforcement, we've got a bill where doxing law enforcement, that's putting personally identifiable information, phone numbers, addresses online for the purposes of harassing or even worse, causing harm to law enforcement. We want to up the penalties there. Again, I'm just having a hard time getting that through the Senate, and I can't figure out why.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem too. I mean, I've been working on more safety precautions around the abortion pill, which is now the number one way that women are getting abortions, and they actually are encouraging women to stock up on this medication. And I'm thankful Steve Gooch, who we'll be talking later, and Sharon Cooper are going to be carrying this bill. We hope it's going to get through crossover day. But when the thing that's important about it to me is that all you need to know is what Planned Parenthood does. Planned Parenthood requires you to come back and see a doctor the day after you take this abortion pill to be sure you're not having any bleeding problems. That should be if that's what they're doing, that should be the standard for everyone. And this should be a 100% vote, Chris, because I'm having trouble getting it through the Senate too. This should be a 100% vote because it's about women's health care.
And that's an issue, Martha, too, that I have joined with my fellow attorneys general from around the country in dealing with this issue, particularly the ways that, some states don't have as a stringent approach to this issue like Georgia does, and making sure that people can't circumvent it by going to another state and mailing, pills across state lines and that type of thing. So I commend you for what you're doing.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you what, there's a 7% complication rate. There is no drug in the FDA that they would approve today a 7% complication rate. And but it's because of the way we talk about abortion that they'll allow that through. And so that's something I've been working on a long time. I'm a patient woman, but it's time for it to get passed this year. Chris, if people want to help you, how can they do that?
Yeah, have them go to www.carforgeorgia.com. That's our website. We're on Facebook, and we're on Twitter, and we're on Instagram, and even if you are part of the younger generation, we are on TikTok. So we are all over social media, and we want everybody to join us. And Martha, I want to know all your listeners. I want to earn their vote and support, because this has to be, again, about the person who has the record, having spent time in Washington dealing with those issues. Then the Commissioner of Economic Development, now Attorney General for 10 years. I have the record, I have the experience, and I can win in November, which is what this has to be about.
Chris Carr, we'll see you on Thursday. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Martha. Take care.
Thank you. We'll take a break, and we'll come back.
What you see is what you get. I call it like I see it. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. We have always believed that on this radio program.
It's Todd Starnes, weekdays at noon on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
When you have a problem with your roof, you want someone who can respond quickly, but also who knows roofing. That's what you get at Georgia Select Roofing. This is Chris Earls, and we do roofing right. Estimates are free, we can help you navigate your insurance claim, and we also offer financing. Check out our Google reviews, and you'll see that Georgia Select Roofing offers the best service around. See us today at georgiaselectroofing.com or call us at 678-316-6899. Family owned and operated, Georgia Select Roofing has you covered.
This is Nick
and Laura
from Nichols Body Shop. We want you to know it's your choice who repairs your vehicle.
Do not assume you can get the best repair for the cheapest price.
Every shop is different.
We work for you, our customer, to give you the best repair possible.
Learn more by calling 770-967-8200 or come by the shop. Estimates are always free.
You can also find us on Facebook at Nichols Body Shop,
the home of quality repairs
and old-fashioned service.
You wouldn't want someone you couldn't trust working on your family's HVAC and plumbing, so why would you call anyone but Gainesville Mechanical? They're your local, most trusted and award-winning HVAC and plumbing company in North Georgia. From maintenance appointments and clogged drains to plumbing emergencies and new system installations, their team is ready to serve you. And with their customer assurance maintenance plan, you can receive discounts, priority scheduling, and 24/7 no overtime rates. Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes since 1989.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. After my husband died, the last thing I wanted to think about was money. Ethos made it affordable to get life insurance. Signing up was fast and 100% online. I knew that I could pay our mortgage and have food in the fridge. I could focus on my kids. No one ever tells you how much you're going to depend on that policy. I am so grateful we had coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, beginning Monday, March 9th, Franmar Drive South in Northern Hall County closes for the Sardis Connector Project. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical, from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Georgia holds the title of #1 state for business for 12 years running. What do you attribute that to?
A lot of great things. Great business environment, great hardworking people. We've focused on our workforce development, making sure we have the people that businesses need in our state. We got great infrastructure, but also we have great partnerships. We got great state, local partnerships, just like with the mayor, other local economic developers, because this is a team sport, and that's what drives us.
So that was Governor Kemp, along with Mayor Dickens and a few other folks, because they rang the bell at the New York Stock Exchange for the kickoff of FIFA. I don't know, Logan. Is FIFA for 6 months? I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but it seems like it's all over the country and it's going to be a lot of games.
Yeah, I'm not too well versed on FIFA and soccer. That's not my main sport I follow, but I know ever since Atlanta United came to town about 10 years ago, the population and the boom that we've had in the city, in the state, has just been insane to watch. And obviously, so now that the fact that Mercedes-Benz Stadium is going to host a couple of World Cup games, which would be very big for the state in general.
And I've gotten a lot of notifications about Braves baseball games, which I know are the exhibition games.
Yes,
but they seem to be on networks that I can find. So even though they lost their contract, it seems like they're going to be on Roku Live. They're going to be in a few other places.
Yeah, it looks like it. They've kind of finagled their way, as we've talked about all off season, about where they're going to be, because their former network kind of went bankrupt or went under.
Yeah.
So they have their own kind of network now, their own Braves network. Which is really interesting. It's kind of like its own subscription, of course it is, to where you can watch the games all year. And like I said, for the spring training, they generally have those available for whatever local market you have. So, you'll be able to watch all the spring training games and also the World Baseball Classic games coming up here this week.
That'll be fun. GG Mack is here with us today. As I told you before, she bid at my sister's place gala for an opportunity to sit in with me for a day. Welcome.
Yay,
it's so great to have you here. So tell us about you. I love this. You're a Lux Travel, a concierge level travel advisory specializing in cruises. Tell us about that.
Well, I got into this business about, I think it was 6 years ago, and I got into it because I used to run Christian women's wellness retreats. And I thought, well, this will be such a great way to get into the travel industry and use it with my wellness retreats. Well, I end up loving booking so much that my retreats kind of fell by the wayside.
Yes.
Unfortunately. But I have cruised since I was a little girl with my parents, and I've always loved cruising. So I basically kind of navigated towards being a cruise specialist, and then I fell in love with river cruising. I do a lot of ocean cruising. I also love small ship cruising.
Yes.
Just because it's so much more intimate. You get right into the heart of a city. But then I also love to help busy professionals, because who has time to sit online and Google and go to AI and search for travel for hours and hours and hours? That's why you have me. So I'm helping people, especially busy professionals that need a getaway.
And it seems like, okay, so travel agencies kind of went by the wayside when the internet came along, because people realized they could do it. But then they realized, do I really have to do it?
Exactly.
And I admit I use Expedia a lot in booking trips that my husband and I go on. And then, of course, through the radio station, we book a couple of trips a year with Colette, where we take a group of listeners. And they do a fantastic job. But they take care of all the details.
Exactly.
And I kind of like that. And that's what we're doing. I have my little bucket list of things that I want to do. My husband and I like to go to England every year, or somewhere in the UK every year, because we just love the weather in the summertime and the long days. We really love the long days.
Yes.
But also there's things like Turner Classic Movies has got an old movie conference that they do every spring that I want to go on as a just as a bucket list, maybe with a girlfriend. And there's the Surrey Writers Conference, which is in Canada, that again, it's just kind of a bucket list trip. I'd like to go. It's more of a panel. It's more of a learning kind of thing than it is a relaxation kind of thing. But I'm working on all those bucket list things,
I love that.
to try to get all those things done, because no time like the present.
Right. And I also have got a Christmas market river cruise that I'm hosting in December.
Ooh.
And that is a lot of women's bucket list, especially if you're a Hallmark watcher.
Yes.
So anybody can join me on that one.
Although a funny story, I just recovered from this heart attack. I'm recovering from this heart attack I had, and the colloquial name of it is broken heart syndrome.
That is
sad.
sad.
And my son, my son said that is proof positive that the Hallmark Channel kills. So I thought that was very funny, very funny. But anyway, you got to laugh, though, when things like this
really
are happening.
That's all you can do.
Let's go to the phones now and talk to Joe in Ella J. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Martha, great to have you back. I enjoyed your interview with Chris Carr. I'm for Burt Jones, but I think a lot of Chris, and if he wins,
we got good candidates. We've got good candidates out there.
Yeah, we really do. We got great candidates, and that's very exciting. I do like Chris. I'm for Burt, but both of them are, I think, excellent candidates. I just want to say I think Trump is doing a fantastic job, and I totally support what he did with Iran. Getting rid of that Ayatollah was fantastic, and in my opinion, of course, I love the stock market. I think what Trump's doing, as president, is great for the stock market, the economy. And I predict, in my opinion, the Republicans are going to win the midterms with landslides because I think the economy will be so great in November. Stocks will be, in my opinion, another record high, and I just think happy days are here again. So I predict on your great show that the Republicans will win the midterms with huge landslides, and I hope I'm right. But anyway, it's great to have you back, and God bless you. Take care of yourself, and you'll be doing that program for another 20 or 30 years.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Joe. I think it's going to be interesting to watch, right, everything that's going on, because it will be a heavy lift for the Republicans to win in November. But I think that, this is a different time, and I think we'll be in good shape there. I don't know how political you are at all, GG, but it is an interesting time, and we're coming up on what's called the midterm elections, which usually go to the party out of power. And so we've got a heavy lift to really win in November.
I know. I'm going to go with Joe.
Yeah. Okay, good. I like that. Joe is so positive, isn't he, Logan? He is just the best on that.
I was about to say, he's a ray of sunshine we get every other day here on the show.
So I had Joe on years ago with his wife. He and his wife came down because he was so good at grassroots motivation, that. And he's just a great guy. And I had to ask his wife, I pulled her aside. I said, Betty, does he go home and kick the dog? Because he's so positive all the time. And she goes, no, but sometimes our 2-year-old grandson can make him very frustrated. Oh. So funny. And that 2-year-old grandson is probably now graduated from college. But, Joe is a super positive person, and we're always glad to hear from him. You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. You can also text us. And next up, Steve Gooch, who's running for lieutenant governor and is also the state senator from Dahlonega, is joining us.
Hi, I'm John Shackelford, Executive Director of Eagle Ranch. For families in the middle of a struggle, knowing what is needed and where to go for help can be hard. To support these families, we created First Step Counseling. This new program allows families looking for help to meet with an Eagle Ranch counselor to share their story and make a plan for healing and renewal before starting therapy. Counselors are standing by and ready to meet with you and your family in person within a few days, so no long wait list. And like all Eagle Ranch services, no one is turned away because of financial constraints. Schedule a call with our First Step team today by going to eagleranch.org.
Got hills, heavy brush, or tough terrain that's slowing you down? Howard Brothers has the solution: VinTrack mowers. Built for steep slopes and demanding terrain where traditional equipment struggles, VinTrack is engineered to handle the hard jobs. And with more than 30 available attachments, it's not just a mower, it's a year-round machine. Schedule your demo with Howard Brothers today and see what VinTrack can do for you.
I'm Frank Norton with the Norton Agency. One thing I've learned in my 42 years in the real estate business is that Americans are not comfortable with haggling and negotiations. We're by and large not a bartering society, but we at Norton do that every day. Our professional advocates' #1 priority is to get the buyer or seller the best price. You need Norton now more than ever. Call us at 770-532-0022 or look for us on the web at gonorton.com. Our family serving North Georgia for 4 generations.
Wednesday brings Choice Sports Basketball. At 6 on AM 550 and FM 102.9, the East Hall boys are on the road to take on Calhoun. While on 94.5 FM, the Gainesville boys host Dutchtown at 7. Be game ready with previews at accesswdun.com. Powered by North Georgia's News Talk. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 9:30.
Fox News, I'm Therese Crowley. Operation Epic Fury, where we stand. Fox's Nate Foy.
President Trump says a big wave of American attacks is coming soon. The U.S. has also sunk 11 Iranian ships. Defense officials tell Fox Iran only has small boats left, but still could mine the Strait of Hormuz. Iran says it's closed. The U.S. says it is not.
AAA says the national average price of gas up 11 cents a gallon overnight. The dead now 6 U.S. service members. Israel says 1,000 enemy combatants killed, with Iran's missile capability degraded 50%. The U.S. continues pounding Iran missiles and command and control. President Trump hosting German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who says this is the moment to stand together in unity. Democrats don't feel the same. More members being briefed today who want to limit the president's war powers as Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem speaks in the Senate. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
WDUN. From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow, and Colin Gray's trial is wrapping up in Barrow County Superior Court this week. The father of alleged Appalachia High School shooter, Colt Gray, is accused of allowing his son access to the gun used in the fatal September 2024 attack. Prosecuting attorney Patricia Brooks told jurors during closing arguments Monday, Colin shares the blame for the shooting.
After seeing sign after sign of his son's deteriorating mental state, his violence, his school shooter obsession, the defendant has sufficient warning that his son was a bomb just waiting to go off. And instead of disarming him, he gave him the detonator.
You can see the latest trial developments online at Access WDUN. A Houston residential fire February 26th leads to an Atlanta man being arrested. WDUN's William Daughtry reports.
The incident occurred that night at around 7:30 p.m. on Grand Reunion Drive. Deputies tried to pull over 19-year-old Parso Robert Bajnorti in connection to the fire at around 11 p.m. that night, and he sped off before eventually stopping and being arrested. Bajnorti also had warrants for an incident at the same home on February 24th when he allegedly stole from the home and damaged the same victim's SUV by pouring flour and fish into the vehicle.
And District 50's state senator is ready to run for re-election as Senator Bo Hatchett formally turned in his re-election papers on Monday for the May 19th state Republican primary. Full details at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast from meteorologist Holly Strano.
We've got mainly cloudy skies, and we'll continue with mostly cloudy skies into the afternoon. Upper 50s for highs. Partly cloudy skies tonight. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Demorest, 44 degrees, Winder, 47, and in Gainesville, 46. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Hi, this is Cal Cooley with Electronic Sales Company, and joining me today is Charlie Bramwell, Director of Interactive Neighborhood for Kids, better known as Inc. around here. When we help move your burglar alarm, fire alarm, cameras, and all the other things, I had no idea how impressive and big Inc. has become. Where's your new location?
We moved to Oakwood, the center of Oakwood.
Got anything special coming up?
Yes, sir. We have several new exhibits coming in within the next month or two. The Department of Transportation is putting in some roads for us. We're talking to the FAA about bringing some monitors in so kids can actually see real-life flights. We have an extremely nice train exhibit. And yesterday, we was donated a train console from an actual train. We're going to refurbish it and put it next to the train exhibit so kids can actually be the train conductor and move levers and valves.
I am so excited. Everybody, you need to go down there to Inc. in Oakwood.
Your community partner in protection, Electronic Sales Company. See them today online at electronicsalesco.com.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
You're fine? Really? You need something to help you? No problem, you're safe. You're safe. Everything good? No problem.
So this is the coolest thing because this was in the desert in Kuwait, where in the last couple of days, there was some friendly fire that shot down a couple of our fighter jets, and all of our pilots were able to eject and get to safety. And this was a group of Bedouin men seeing our pilot and saying, "Are you okay? Are you safe? We love you. Thank you for everything you're doing." So it was pretty good. It was pretty great. GG Mack's here with me today. She was so kind as to bid on being here with me today for my sister's place, and so she'll be with us. And she's the dancing travel agent, and so we'll keep talking with her throughout the day. But right now, we're talking about a little business. One of my favorite people. Senator Steve Gooch. I mean, we've been through so much together over the years, and been to a lot of the same places and done a lot of the same things, and championed a lot of the important causes. And he's here with us today. He's running for lieutenant governor, but he's our state senator, and we appreciate you being here, Steve. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Martha. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm back and upright. Thank you.
Well, I was worried about you. I heard you had a little health scare and didn't check in on you, but I knew you were in good health.
No, I was. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank God we had a level 1 trauma center. I'm telling you what, it was, we are so blessed to have the kind of medical care that we have here in this community. And, extending all the way up into your district, all throughout Northeast Georgia.
Oh, listen, Northeast Georgia Medical Center saved a lot of lives around the Northeast Georgia area, and they continue to do so. They are definitely one of the best healthcare providers we have in the state, and we're blessed to have them.
Absolutely. So, first of all, tell us about the session, and then we'll talk about your run for lieutenant governor.
Well, the session is always like a Wild West when it's an election year, and so it's a Wild West down here this year. We got bills flying everywhere, back and forth. Some of the bills still left over from last year that are still trying to get through the other chamber, and so everything's up in the air. There's no guarantees on anything at this point, but a lot of talk about affordability. That seems to be the buzzword between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats just fail to remember that it was the Joe Biden administration that caused all this inflation, that put all this into motion for the last 4 years, and so we're having to deal with it. But taxes are a big concern. Property taxes and income taxes. There's a lot of debate on those two issues, and I think before the session's over, Governor Kemp's going to have to bring everybody to the table and try to land the plane, so to speak. We got to figure out what we can afford and what we can reduce and live without. And that's the big thing, is we got to cut spending. A lot of waste, fraud, and abuse in all levels of government around the country, and we have to continue to watch out all that waste and get rid of unnecessary spending in order to get rid of some of these income taxes and property taxes at the local level.
So I have a theory, and you tell me if I'm totally off base. I know you will. Is that, there's a lot of money that we get from the federal government, and it's roughly about the size of our budget that you guys pass. I think that sometimes some people, not you, but some people really don't want the federal government to get their house in order, because then they think that will make it harder for the states to keep their house in order.
Well, it's a good theory. The problem with Washington, as you know, is they don't balance their budgets.
Yes.
Georgia has a balanced budget requirement in the Constitution, thank goodness. Otherwise, there would be a tendency to spend money you don't have here as well. And we've seen a huge increase in our spending in Georgia. I can't say that Republicans have been any better than others around the country. We've seen a huge increase this year in our spending, and we've got to keep that under control, Martha, because when times do get tough again, and they will, we're going to be in trouble. And so we've got to slow down the spending. Now, some of these dollars that we've seen this year that were added to the budget were one-time expenditures for infrastructure, and then, of course, the rebates and the homeowner protection, tax relief. So those are good things for the taxpayers. But we've got to invest in infrastructure, things that are going to create more economic development opportunities for Georgia, and especially rural Georgia.
So I kind of look at your lieutenant governor's race as you're like the stealth bomber, okay? You are everywhere, but you're doing that. This is just my impression of watching your campaign. You're doing the retail work like you always do. You're getting out there and doing things, but you're not calling as much attention to yourself as some of the other candidates are. And I didn't know if that's by design or it's just that's the way you've always been. You show up everywhere, but I'm calling you like the stealth. You're like a B-2 bomber. You're like everywhere.
Well, I appreciate that. I consider myself a workhorse, not a show horse. And what you're seeing down here is typical of politicians that want to get publicity. It's free press that they don't have to pay for, but they're all pushing these political stunts. And so you got to watch what they're saying, because most of what they're saying is not going to come to fruition. Most of these ideas that they're tossing out there are basically just for publicity. They're getting free press. And at the end of session on April 3rd, look back and see what actually passed and if all the things that they were promising came to true or not. I like to work hard for results. I'm a results-driven person. I like to analyze problems. I have a background in local government. I was a sole commissioner in Lumpkin County. I know how to govern cities and counties. I know how to get things done down here, and I do it quietly, but I'm effective at it because of my relationships that I've built over the last 15 years in the Senate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Steve Gooch, you are a workhorse and not a show horse, and you are somebody that has worked hard throughout this entire region. And I appreciate it, and I'm glad you're running for higher office. Now, you have been kind enough to agree to sponsor the Women's Health and Safety Bill that is, we hope is going to get through crossover day. We don't know if it is. Can you give me an update on that? That's a passion project for me.
Well, and to be honest with you, I don't know what the status of that bill is right now, because I'm not the key sponsor of it.
Right.
I did sign on to it, so I haven't been tracking that because I've been working on some of my own legislation. Like yesterday, I passed 2 bills out of the Judiciary Committee that's taking up a lot of my time, and that's dealing with, violent criminals in Georgia. We're letting too many violent criminals out of prisons too often. Just a few weeks ago, I attended the funeral of the officer that was shot and killed in Gwinnett County. There was a second officer that was shot, but he did not die. But the person that shot the police officer that killed that cop in Gwinnett County had been arrested 22 times and released by the court systems over the past 10 or 15 years, and that's unacceptable. And so yesterday in the Judiciary Committee, we passed the One Strike Act out of committee that's going to lock down some of these hardened criminals that are committing violent crimes and not letting them out after a year or 2 years of good behavior. They're going to have to stay and do higher minimum sentences with the possibility of life without parole, depending on the circumstances of the crime. And I stand with Donald Trump on that. We have to get rid of the illegals that are committing crimes in our nation, and they're taking other people's lives with them, like Laken Riley just a couple years ago. That kind of behavior is unacceptable in Georgia. And if I'm the lieutenant governor, we're going to crack down on the illegal crimes that are occurring in our state, and we're going to send the illegals back where they came from.
If you win this race as lieutenant governor, the legislature is going to look real different next year. The congressional delegation, which you don't have to worry about as much, is going to look different because you can disagree with me about this or not, because the governor didn't run for Senate, it's created this kind of fruit basket turnover that we've seen up and down the ballot. Have you thought about that at all, or are you just worried about your race?
No, I worry about it all because we have to maintain a majority in Congress. We have to keep the 9 Republican U.S. representatives that we have out of the 14, because it helps to balance out the scales in D.C. to help Donald Trump continue to finish up his agenda for the next 2 years. And it trickles down all the way to the local Main Street here in Gainesville, Georgia, and Northeast Georgia. We have to have a majority. We have to restore the PSC seats that we lost last November as well to the Democrats. And so as lieutenant governor, I have that relationship with working with 2 other governors and 2 other speakers of the House and 3 lieutenant governors. And I have the leadership skills to bring people together and get things done with our Republican caucus. And we've delivered on some real significant historic conservative legislation over the past 4 or 5 years while I was the majority leader, and I can continue to do that if I'm the next lieutenant governor.
And there'll be a lot of differences in the under the Gold Dome too, because there's a lot of people running for different offices, so it's going to be a fight there too.
Absolutely. I was over in one county a few weeks ago. I think it was Walton or maybe toward Greene County, Oconee County exactly is where it was. They have 51 people on the ballot May 19th, and I think you're going to see that all across the state. There's a lot of people running for different offices this year. You have 6 or 7 running for lieutenant governor on the Republican ballot, 5 or 6 running for governor now. I mean, there's just a lot of choices. There's a lot of good candidates out there, so I encourage people that are listening to do your homework. Don't listen to the sound bites. Don't look at the political stunts and think that's my guy, but make sure you know who you're voting for before you go cast your ballot on May 19th. Look at what steady leadership has done for the past 15 years, and I believe I'm the choice that people can count on and trust.
Steve Gooch, wish you best of luck. You are a guy that has always worked hard and shown up, and I appreciate you being with us today.
Hey, I appreciate it. Go to my website, goochforgeorgia.com. I'd love to have you on my team. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you. We'll take a break and then we'll be back.
So there's a brand new app called Are You Dead? You have to check in with it every 2 days to confirm that you are actually alive.
Or you could just call the Todd Starnes Show. Weekdays at noon on North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
We're talking with Mike Robertson of Oakwood Tire and More. And Mike, I understand you guys have moved. Where can we find you?
3440 Mabry Road, which is right off of Mountain View.
Still offering the same services?
We won't be doing alignments, but we'll be doing tires. Tires, brakes, batteries, tune-ups, those kind of things that normal maintenance repair.
Sounds good. Give us the address one more time. Make sure we don't miss out.
You can find us at 3440 Mabry Road at oakwoodtire.com or even the same phone number, 770-535-0943.
You already know Gainesville Mechanical for their award-winning HVAC service. But did you know they handle plumbing too? Because plumbing problems never happen at a good time, you need a trusted, experienced team there when they do. From small leaks to major repairs, Gainesville Mechanical is here for you with 24/7 no overtime rates through their customer assurance maintenance plan. Proud to be named Best of Hall for HVAC and plumbing, Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep North Georgia cool since 1989.
Grab your golf clubs and join Georgia Mountain Food Bank on Wednesday, June 3rd for the inaugural Greens for Good golf tournament at the beautiful Legacy Golf Course at Lanier Islands. Enjoy a premier day of golf while supporting the food bank's mission to fight hunger across North Georgia. Early bird pricing is available now through March 15th, and sponsorships are open for businesses ready to make an impact. Learn more about sponsorships or register to play at gmfb.org. Let's tee off till no one is hungry.
If you're a veteran or surviving spouse who needs help paying for care, you may have heard about the VA pension with aid in attendance. What many families don't realize is how hard it is to qualify and how easy it is to get denied when you try to navigate the VA system on your own. The paperwork is complex, the rules are strict, and one small mistake can delay benefits for months or even years. Hi, I'm Haley Brock, attorney and owner of Kimbrough Law. At Kimbrough Law, we understand the VA system and we know how to guide families through it the right way. We've helped more than 850 veterans and surviving spouses secure the aid and attendance benefits they earned. The benefits are out there, and you don't have to fight this battle alone. The first step is to find out if you or your loved one might be eligible. Kimbrough Law can help. Call 706-850-6910 or visit kimbroughLaw.net to schedule a consultation. That's 706-850-6910 or visit kimbroughLaw.net.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, closing arguments are complete and jury deliberations to begin today in the Colin Gray trial. Details at Access WDUN. And coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Many people are now worried about possible attacks on U.S. soil. How are you processing that? How concerned should we be?
Well, the Iranian regime has posed a significant threat to the homeland for decades. I do think that threat has been supercharged in the last few days, but the level of retaliation is probably going to depend on whether there's any kind of command and control structure left within the regime, and if regime remnants feel like they have an off-ramp with the Trump administration, or this is it. In terms of tactics and targets, the regime has historically relied on individuals it's paid, recruited, and inspired and planted here in the homeland to conduct physical violence against government officials, against Iranian dissidents, against individuals and entities associated with the state of Israel, and more. More recently, though, and this is interesting, the regime has really doubled down on cyber operations, using aggressive cyber attacks against government networks and other critical
Is that your biggest?
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and of course, there's a lot going on in the Middle East, and we're not going to talk much about it today because I want to get. You know, the briefings are going to happen to the Congress today from President Trump and Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth. And I think until we get through those briefings, we really don't know. I mean, we're in the middle of it. We don't know what's exactly going to happen. I think that, they're now saying instead of it being, a 4 to 5 week war, it may be a little longer than that. I kind of think, and I'm waiting to kind of hear that the the Iranians are kind of using all their resources now. And gas prices are going to go up and things are going to be a problem. But I still think that 4 to 5 week timeline is legitimate, and we'll just see how it goes. It is the Martha Zoller Show, and I'm here with GG Mack, and we are she's sitting here with me today because she made a very generous donation to my sister's place, and she's fairly new to the community, although you grew up in Atlanta.
Yes.
But you're back in Gainesville and caring for parents.
Yes, exactly. I moved here about a year and a half ago. My brother has been here for about 20 years, so it's not like a totally new area.
Right.
My dad used to own Dairy Queens all up in North Georgia, so I know the area well, but I always grew up in the Sandy Springs area, but moved away, got married, and came back because I wanted to help take care of my parents.
So why are you called the dancing travel agent?
Oh, so I have been a dancer my whole life, like most little girls. When I was 3 years old, I started dancing, and I can remember saying, I want to be a professional dancer when I was a little bitty girl. Of course, nobody takes that seriously.
Right.
But as I got older, I did a corporate job here and there. I actually worked for Turner, CNN, and I realized, the corporate world is not for me. I want to be a professional dancer. And I went for it. I became a ballroom and a Latin dance instructor, and I was also a competitor. So I competed in ballroom and Latin dancing. And then I decided to start my own company in Atlanta. It was called GG's Ballroom and Entertainment. And we provided entertainment to corporate events. So anything from like Coca-Cola to Microsoft to IBM, all the big companies, when they come here and had a big a convention or something, they want to hire entertainers, so they hired my company. And I also worked with impersonators, bands, singers, actors, all kinds of things. So that was what I did for a living for many, many years. I had a pretty successful company because there weren't a lot of people doing corporate entertainment back then.
So did you see kind of the rise of the whole entertainment business in the Atlanta area during that time?
I did. I mean, I was so busy all the time. I had so many gigs all week long, and I was basically playing a different character every day. Not only did I teach ballroom and Latin dancing at some of these events, but I also performed, sometimes really small shows, sometimes huge shows with bands and everything. And I was very successful at it, and I loved it. And I always say once a dancer, always a dancer, which is why I still call myself the dancing travel agent, because when I go to any of my travel events and what were called familiarization trips, where we go to get familiar with a cruise ship,
company or
whatever it may be, I started jokingly dancing around to show off the cruise ship or the resort. And somebody said, you really should be the dancing travel agent. And there you go. It stuck. I can't stop dancing.
So what does your husband do?
He's actually retired.
Yeah.
He used to be in sales. He did a lot with cybersecurity, and he retired just a few years ago. So he is loving life. He does a lot of volunteering. He's with the Rotary.
And so is that how you ended up in Florida?
I actually met him in Hilton Head.
Okay.
So my parents had a place in Hilton Head, and my husband lived in Hilton Head.
Okay.
And many years ago, I went there just to get away, and that's how I met him, through some friends at church.
Yes.
What's better than that?
What's better? No, I agree with that. It's the hardest thing, and we're going to be talking in the next segment about a really interesting book. That's by a woman that says it's called Duct Tape and White Lies, a Woman's Practical Guide to Real Life Success. And I'm looking forward to talking with her about that because, we do have this kind of world where we're doing all kinds of different things.
Mm-hmm.
But, my daughter and son-in-law, thank God, my son-in-law went back to school. I was so proud of him. He worked and went to school. He didn't love what he was doing, and he wanted to go back to school in something he wanted to do.
That's really smart.
And he wanted to do something he loved for 30 years instead of something he hated for 40 years,
to
right?
That, yes.
So he got out of school in December, and he's been looking for a job, and he just got a job. And they're going to be moving to Tucson, Arizona, which, I'm okay with that. My husband had to say to me, Martha, it's not about us. It's about them. It's about them, being able to have the life they want.
Exactly. And you can go visit.
And I can go visit. I have lots of miles. I can go visit. But what's interesting about all of that is that, she's really, she's a millennial, so she's used to looking things up on her phone. And I just said, you know what, honey? You need to be less like a millennial and more like a boomer about this move. And what I mean is that just, hey, you're going, just go with the flow.
Exactly.
Let that. It's an old school company that's got a relocation package.
Nice. That's
They're gonna.
nice.
I mean, they've got the full benefits. I mean, this is a great company.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They're going with. It's got all the boomer type benefits.
Wow.
You know, so you need to lean into
Just
your boomer
be
side.
a boomer.
Be a boomer and don't look up every little thing and look for every little problem that you might have in
isn't
Tucson.
that the truth? Yeah. That's the problem
Yeah.
with the phones these days.
It is. It is. And you know, when we were talking earlier to Chris Carr when he was saying that he supported the limiting of phones, and you know, it's funny. It's moms that don't want their kids to not be available by phone. And look, I mean, I didn't talk to my parents for like a week or two at a time when I was at college. You know, it's you just can't assume. And I know because of these phones and because of the way news is, these kinds of these violent incidents are really not any more common than they ever were. It's just because you see them on your
we
phone
hear about it all
and
the
you see
time.
the video, it plants in your mind and you think it's a lot worse than it is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, like, it's kind of like when the first Gulf War happened and we had the lowest amount of casualties that we've ever had, thank God, because we don't have battles anymore where we plan on losing 10,000 men in one day like we did in World War II.
Exactly.
Okay? So, but because every 15 minutes you saw a report that people had died, but in your brain, it's adding it up. And you're thinking
ever.
it's worse than it was. Yes. So I think you got to put this stuff down. You got to walk away from it every now and then.
Exactly.
And just kind of, and I'm learning this because I was able to go back to work as a stay-at-home mom because I had this technology and I could be available all the time.
Exactly.
But it's not good to be available all the time.
No, it's not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, it's so crazy, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah, so how do you manage all of that?
Oh, goodness.
Manage your life.
It is hard because people assume as a travel agent
You're always there.
and that I'm always going to be available and that I don't have business hours because when they want to talk about their trip on the weekend, I should be available. I've had to really set major boundaries for that.
That is the key, folks. Setting and holding boundaries. We will
Amen.
be back on the Martha Zoller Show.
Matt Hayes here from Hayes Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Baldwin with some serious savings on the great lineup of vehicles here at Hayes. And just to name a few, $6,500 off 26 Chrysler Pacificas, $9,000 off 25 Dodge Durangos, and $11,000 off 25 Jeep Wranglers. And trucks, well, we got the trucks. $10,000 off MSRP on 26 Ram 1500 Bighorns, and $13,000 off MSRP on 25 model Ram 2500 HD trucks. Refresh your driveway with one of these new deals from Hayes of Baldwin. And hey, ask about our free lifetime powertrain warranty.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10 o'clock.
Americans are being warned across the Middle East.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The State Department urging them to leave, though some can't, with more than 1,000 flights canceled again today. And there's an even more urgent warning
to Americans in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, an eastern coastal city near Bahrain. Quote, there is a threat of imminent missile and UAV attacks over Dhahran. Do not come to the U.S. consulate. Take cover immediately in your residence on the lowest available floor and away from windows.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin also reports from the Pentagon Saudi Arabia is close to joining the U.S. and Israel attacking Iran after this.
The U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, was struck by at least 2 Iranian Shahid drones last night.
No Americans were injured there, but there are 6 U.S. troop deaths in the conflict with Iran, 18 wounded, as Iran also keeps firing missiles into Israel, countering a 4th day of strikes. And Fox's Trey Yingst reports from Tel Aviv.
I'm told by a senior Israeli official that the Israelis just struck the Supreme Council gathering where the Iranians were meeting to choose a new supreme leader.
And Trey just emailed us they hit as the votes were being counted days after Iran's supreme leader was killed. And there's financial fallout. Oil and gas prices have surged today as stocks plunged. The Dow's down more than 1,000 points. All members of Congress will get a briefing on the conflict this afternoon. Right now, the Senate is holding a hearing questioning Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem as Democrats block new funding for a department demanding immigration enforcement reform. Senator Dick Durbin just told her,
without hesitation or remorse, DHS agents have wreaked havoc in our cities. I've seen it in the city of Chicago, and acted with unspeakable cruelty against children, immigrant families, and American citizens.
Secretary Noem responded, ICE agents are being targeted.
They are facing a serious and escalating threat as a result of deliberate mischaracterizations of their heroic work and rhetoric that demonizes our law enforcement.
And at the hearing, some anti-ICE protesters have been loud and escorted out of the room. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow, and closing arguments have been completed while jury deliberations are underway in the trial for the father of alleged Appalachia High School shooter Colt Gray. Now, Colin Gray faces dozens of charges that include second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter for allegedly allowing his son the access to the gun used in the shootings from September 2024. One of Gray's defense attorneys, Jim Berry, told jurors Monday afternoon Colin did not believe that Colt was capable of such violence.
What never enters your mind is a parent who loves their child and who thinks they understand their child, that they could plan and carry out such a horrific shooting.
Now, if found guilty on all counts, Colin Gray could face up to 180 years total in prison. Another candidate has emerged in the Democratic Party primary for Georgia State Labor Commissioner. WDUN's Logan Landers has details.
Atlanta's Christian Wise Smith, a former candidate for Georgia Attorney General in 2022, has filed his candidacy for Georgia Department of Labor Commissioner. Wise Smith has a master's degree in health management and experience working with the Grady Health System and as chief of staff with Atlanta City Council's District 5 office. Wise Smith believes he can help give Georgians a pathway to healthy employment before they ever end up in the justice system. A link to his campaign webpage can be found at Access WDUN.
A Gainesville man is arrested for possession and distribution of child sexual abuse material. Hall County Sheriff's Office spokesman Derek Booth says the 20-year-old Luke Samuel Tyner allegedly had 10 videos of children being sexually assaulted. Tyner shared the videos with others via a social media app between June and August of 2025.
At this point, Mr. Tyner has been charged with 20 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. The breakdown of that is 10 for possession of child sexual abuse material and 10 for distribution of child sexual abuse material.
Tyner's being held in the Hall County Jail without bond. And District 50's state senator is ready to run for re-election this campaign season as Senator Bo Hatchett formally turned in papers Monday for his re-election in the May 19 state Republican primary. He's been floor leader for Governor Brian Kemp at the state capitol and is vice chair of the committees on children and families and for reappointment and redistricting. More details and more news at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
North Georgia, we've got mainly cloudy skies into the afternoon. Upper 50s for highs. Partly cloudy tonight. Lows in the upper 40s by early tomorrow. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Blairsville, 44 degrees, Sugar Hill, 47, and in Gainesville, 46. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Are you frustrated with your contacts? Have your glasses become more of a burden? Well, don't suffer. Hi, this is Kim. Here at Advanced Eye Center, we offer all laser LASIK to free your eyes. When you consider not only the amount of money you pay for all of that eye gear, but also the amount of time you spend handling contacts, glasses, cases, solution, and eye drops, how can you not afford to have LASIK? Invest in you. Save your money, save your time at Advanced Eye Center. Vision correction for all ages.
While technology has certainly changed the way people do business, it hasn't changed the way we treat our customers. It's Mike Cormier, and at Hardy Chevrolet, we are as committed to excellent customer service as the Hardys were when they started the business here in Gainesville over 4 decades ago. When it's time for a new or used vehicle, remember what Charles Hardy always said. We love you and we need you. Together, let's drive. At Hardy Chevrolet, Brownsbridge Road in Gainesville, online at hardychevrolet.com.
Talking about the issues that affect you most. It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. Now from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, here's Martha Zoller on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and GG Mack is here with me today,
Yes,
the
I
dancing travel agent.
Thank you.
Thank you for your generous gift to my sister's place.
Sure, no problem.
And joining me right now, I couldn't wait to have Emily on. Emily Lampkin's joining me right now. And she's written a book called Duct Tape, White Lies, and White Lies, A Woman's Practical Guide to Real Life Success. Emily, welcome to the program. How are you?
Thanks. Hi, good morning. How are you? Love talking to one of my favorite women leaders.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So how did this book come about? Because I'll be honest with you, I normally read the book before I do the interview, but I wanted to do this interview as soon as I saw the title, so I have not finished reading the book yet. But I wanted to know how it came about because, the title says it all, doesn't it?
Yes. So I have this Women Leaders Series workshop, and I go out and talk about perfecting the tools we already have to be thriving in our life. And when I was out, women were asking for a book. Can I take this home? How do I reference this later? And I thought about the book. When I decided to write it, what was I going to call it? My answer I always have for living life in the messy middle, duct tape and white lies. Perfection is not what life looks like, but we can still have what we want.
So tell us a little bit about the book, Duct Tape and White Lies.
Sure. 3 fundamentals in there. Talk about helping women sell themselves. What does branding look like? How do I build a message? How do I tell a story about myself? How do I get a little more confident? And how do I start asking for what I want? Networking. We go through the fundamentals and then the sophistication of networking. How to build and maintain a dynamic network and use it for what you want. And finally, going now. More than 50% of the women on this globe are unsatisfied with their life because they gave up on their dream. Almost none of us thought we were going to be a supermodel. I want to help women to go ahead and seek that dream they have. Let's put together an individualized plan of action and get them to where they want to go. The book is also filled with what I call accessories. They are mini chapters with the how-tos. When I talk to women, they often say, I know I want something. I know I'm supposed to go get it, but I don't even know where to start. So accessories include things, Martha, such as 10 ways to get out of a conversation, great gift ideas that are inexpensive that build relationships. All of that's included in the book.
Emily, I was having this conversation with my daughter recently because she and her husband he went back to school in his 30s. He got a fantastic job with one of the old school companies, you know what I mean, that does all the stuff, the benefits and the relocation and the whole 9 yards. And she is a millennial and she is used to researching everything, online about everything. And it was causing her a great deal of anxiety. And my advice to her was, honey, you need to be a little less like a millennial and a little more like a boomer, where boomers just kind of went with the flow because we didn't know what was going to happen. we got out of school. Our parents were World War II veterans. They had been through the Depression. They had kind of a my mother was always waiting for the other shoe to drop. I don't know about your parents, but my mother was always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And so I think there's something we can garner, and that's kind of what drew me to the Duct Tape and White Lies, was that there's something we can garner to kind of just going with the flow instead of having to organize everything.
Well, one thing I know for sure, there are times when we as women get fixated on perfection. And perfection is unattainable. It's also miserable. And I often get asked if there's one piece of advice. I actually have two. Number one, take more risks. All of us define risks separately. But I find that women who are thriving in their life live with less regret. They try things. Even if they're failures, I call mistakes now I knows. It's okay to have mistakes, but living without regret is a good thing. And coupled with that is we need to have more fun. Shake it off. Have some girlfriends over for coffee or drinks. Mix up your crew. Ask somebody about themselves. All of that stuff. Fun makes life a lot more enjoyable.
So, Gigi, you've been through, kind of a lot of different business opportunities.
Yes.
You've recreated yourself a number of times. Can you relate to this thing? Because I can relate to this wanting to be perfect. My husband doesn't worry about being perfect. He takes risks. If they don't work out, he just moves on to the next thing. Do you relate to that?
I do, and I have always been an entrepreneur, as I was telling you earlier. I've always owned my own business, but I'm in the travel business now, and I'm around so many other women who just lack that confidence to go out and start their own business, or maybe they don't feel that they're worthy of saying, "Oh, I'm a business owner," and they just don't have the confidence to go and do that. And being that I've always been an entrepreneur, I've always just gone for it. I think it's just in our blood, in my family.
Absolutely.
So I love it. And as a performer, I just don't seem to have a big problem with that. But I just know I meet so many women in this industry and all the industries I've been in that just lack that confidence. They just are too scared, and like you were saying, they want to be perfect.
So Emily Lampkin, and the author of Duct Tape and White Lies, I just love that. And I think that we have created this situation where I was reading an article where they said those 60s and 70s kids were the last ones that learned how to solve their own problems. We need to reinstitute that, Emily, in the women, not just the women we're raising today, but especially the women we're raising today.
They have a lot of strengths. We have done them disservices at times as a society. And one of the things that they do think a lot about what they're going to do. We've also taught them, which I think is somewhat incorrect, what a mentor is. It is great to go advice and input. As an entrepreneur, you go run around and ask people what they know and look to incorporate that in what you're doing. But you need to make your own decisions, because you are the only person who has all of the information, and you're the only one who has to live with it. And I think we have, again, gone too far on this perfection. But back to the confidence question, all of us have this confidence thing in the back of our mind. I hear it from great women leaders at times about how much they still have that voice in their head. And we cover that in the book, because the only way I know how to make that better is the way we do anything. Practicing, finding out what works and what doesn't work.
Absolutely. We're talking to Emily Lampkin, and her book is called Duct Tape and White Lies, A Woman's Practical Guide to Real Life Success. And she's done global women's leadership programs. She has worked with the U.S. State Department, TV and podcasts. She's been, had great insights on a number of things. And, I had a heart attack on February the 5th, and I spent, 2 weeks recovering, and then I'm sort of coming back to work now, figuring out what that's going to look like as I go forward. And it was a stress related, and it was a common condition, Emily, that happens to women. It's called Takotsubo syndrome, which is, colloquially called the broken heart syndrome. But it's common in women. In fact, every doctor I saw said, I have never seen this in a man. It's always in a woman because we carry our stress differently. But it made me spend a lot of time thinking about what's really important. And even though I'm 66 now, it is important to always be willing to reinvent yourself, always be willing to talk about it. And I still have the little fat girl in my head that tells me I'm a failure. Okay? And we've got to get past that.
There's a reason I really like you. I think so much of you and what you have to say. And I often make the point you just made. I really don't have anything to add because it's all true. I just want all of your listeners to understand we all live the same life. I wrote this book for us. I made it not a hardcover book so it was more affordable because I want all of us to have what we want. And we cannot give up our jobs. We cannot give up being the caretaker for so many people in our families, but you can still have what you want within your discretionary time and get you to be thriving in your life.
Well, Emily Lampkin, tell people where they can get this book.
Sure, Amazon, or really anywhere you'd buy books, Target, Barnes & Noble, wherever you'd buy a book, you can get your copy of Duct Tape and White Lies, and it is the great and affordable gift for a woman you love in your life as well.
And I love that you said, get it at Amazon because, we were having this conversation this weekend where, the big failure, I think, of the 20th century was Sears, because Sears was Amazon. Okay, they got the catalog, that you got it, you did all that stuff, but then they tried to go high end. They forgot who they were. And now Amazon is actually the Sears catalog of the 21st century.
It is, and it works in so many of our lives.
It does. It really does. I mean, I hate to admit how much money I spend at Amazon every month,
too.
But it is a wonderful thing. I have learned, though, Emily, how to combine my deliveries so that I get 8% back, and so I have really enjoyed doing that. Anyway, Emily,
good. I hope you're spending the 8% on something fun for yourself, Martha.
That's absolutely right. Emily Lampkin, Duct Tape and White Lies. A Women's Practical Guide to Real Success, Life Success. It's available today. Thank you for being with me today.
You're the best.
Thank
you.
Talk
to you later, Martha.
We'll talk later. Bye-bye.
From the twists and turns of COTA to the 1 mile oval of Phoenix, the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series continues with the GovX 200. Coverage from the Desert Jewel begins Saturday at 7 on FM 102.9 WDUN.
Would you take advice on how to collect money from the folks that owe it to you? That's exactly what you do when you let an insurance company steer you to their contract shop. At Nichols Body Shop, we earn our customers one at a time. We depend on repeat customers and referrals to keep our shop busy. When you need a repair shop, please consider picking a shop that works for you. Nichols Body Shop in Flowery Branch, where the best sign of a quality repair is no sign at all. Find us on Facebook or call 770-967-8200.
This is Grant Nichols, and at Loretta's Country Kitchen, we know life can really pile up. There's work, getting the kids to practice, and shopping. With all that, the week can really wear you out. The last thing you want to do is spend Saturday in the kitchen. Not to worry, we've just added lunch and dinner to our Saturday lineup at Loretta's. That's right, not only are we open for breakfast on Saturdays, but we're also serving up lunch from 11 till 2 and dinner from 4:30 until 8. Give your kitchen and your family a break with breakfast, lunch, and dinner Saturdays at Loretta's Country Kitchen, Mundy Mill Road, Oakwood, where it's all good.
Spring is calling. Are you ready to grow? At Full Bloom Nursery, we're kicking off the spring season with 5 acres of perennial shrubs and trees, all ready for your next outdoor project. This is Julie. I'd like to invite you to come experience the difference of a true nursery. Take a stroll through our display gardens and let our knowledgeable staff help you choose the perfect plant for your space. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and Saturday from 9 to 2. Learn more at fullbloomnursery.com and follow us on Facebook to see what's growing.
Shoot your shot on Prize Picks and get $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting. So don't miss this chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code ROME. Get a $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. That's code ROME on Prize Picks to get a $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get $50 bonus credit in lineups just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. It's going to be right. You do have to be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. details.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, an Atlanta man faces arson charges from last week's fire at the entrance of a Houston home. Details at Access WDUN, and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Well, we did. We notified Congress. I mean, we notified the Gang of Eight. We notified congressional leadership. There's no law that requires us to do that. The law says we have to notify them 48 hours after beginning hostilities. We've done that. I think the notification went today. But we did notify members of Congress in advance. But we can't notify 535 members of Congress. Well, the Congress can vote on whatever they want, but there's no law that requires us to do that. And I want to say something because I see people on TV. Look, that's fine. If they want to take a war powers vote, they can do that. They've done that. They've done that a bunch of times. But people keep saying that there's no law that requires the president to have done anything with regards to this. To begin with, no presidential administration has ever accepted the War Powers Act as constitutional. Not Republican presidents, not Democratic presidents. That said, we have followed the notification at 48 hours. We're here today. I've done more Gang of Eight briefings than I got in the 4 years that Biden was president and I was a member of the Gang of Eight. All of that said, we've complied with the law 100%. And we're going to continue.
So that's Marco Rubio, who I just love. I mean, he is so calm, cool, and collected. He can handle things without being snarky. He is really, really good. And I just love how he approaches everything. And I think he's become a big star in this administration because he had his down moments. You know, you remember he did the answer to the State of the Union and he didn't have enough water and people remembered that. But, you know, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he is. I agree.
Yeah, he's such a wonderful example of serving your country. And you don't have to agree with him, you know, but it's a great thing. And my daughter texted me during the show and said that they had an Iranian pastor come and make a presentation to their church, and he sent me the information, and I'm definitely going to try to have them on because far be it from me, I in addition, GG, to me not, you know, necessarily replying to every email the minute I get them and putting some boundaries there. What I try to do with this show is that when we have serious topics like the war in Iran, I try to make sure I've got a pretty good foundation before I talk about it.
That makes sense.
Yes, thank you. I tend to side. I mean, I'm a strong supporter of Israel, and I'm pretty much going to support most anything that they do. And so that makes me lean towards the fact I think this is the right thing to do. But I'm doing the research right now.
That's all you can do.
So as a regular person, do you get like news alerts on your phone? How do you follow information?
I do not.
Okay.
I basically live in the travel world.
Yes.
Now, I do get a lot of alerts that might pertain to travel.
Yes.
Because I'm always worried about what's going to happen.
So you're probably getting some of those now.
So I'm getting some of those, and I subscribe to a lot of like travel, like podcasts, and I get a lot of emails from different travel industry publications. And so I'm always on the lookout for that, especially when everything happened with Mexico, and then now we've got the new stuff happening. And I do have a lot of clients that are going to be sailing to the Mediterranean. So of course that's in my head. So I'm paying attention in more of a travel sense because I want to see, and also with the airspace and what's going to happen with flights and things like that. So I am always on the lookout when it comes to that. So I stay more tuned to that. My husband's always got the news on downstairs, so I'm always going down there to watch. So that's kind of how I keep track. He basically will tell me what's happening in the news. But other than that, I am always so travel focused. It is hard to get out of your own business.
I used to have the news on all the time, and in the background or foreground, whatever. I do some podcasts now. I also have, we cut the cord, we cut the cord a year and a half ago, and so we consume news differently now because I don't have a DirecTV where I can get every network.
Yeah.
And I tend to like Fox, and Fox is not available unless you pay for it, which is okay, which is fine. So it's a weird thing. So American Express gives you some discounts if you do what's called premium streaming. And
I
with
didn't know that.
ESPN, I learned this. With the ESPN bundle, you get something called Fox One. And it's $29.99 a month, and you get $25 credit from American Express if you do that. So basically for $4.99 a month, we're getting everything ESPN has, and I'm getting Fox News Live.
That's
which,
neat.
Which is, a nice thing for me. So, but I've also learned some other news networks. I watch Newsmax now because it's available
we do
free.
Newsmax as well.
I watch GB News, which is Great Britain news, because I like to watch international news to see what they're saying about us.
Yeah, we watch that too.
See how they're covering it. You know what I mean? And, excuse me, Logan?
If you insist, Martha Zoller show.
Anyway, got a little cough there.
No, don't worry about it.
But, excuse me. But anyway, so what I try to do is get a lot of information, and then I go to a podcast.
Yeah.
And kind of put it out.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
So then I tried to, by the time I have an opinion about it, that I've looked at several different things.
Exactly.
But I tend to think, we know that Iran has been the bad guy for 50 years. And we know what they've done. There was a former CIA head. Excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat that I cannot get rid of. I'm going to have to get a cough drop at the break. He was hit. He was hit and taken hostage. And literally, they skinned him alive, and that's how they killed him.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, so these are not nice people.
No, not at all.
These are not people that are going to give us the same grace that we've given them for 47 years.
Oh, no, not at all.
And so I tend to think that the world will be better off, and that when we look at something like Arab countries that are doing things more for their own country, that it's a better place because we've got more people working with us on this.
True.
I think it's better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I too have always been so for Israel. And
yes, it's easy to be for them because they try to do things right. So your travel business is very interesting, and I think that it's something you're going to hear. You're going to pay attention to the news now, right? Aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we kind of have to. And so much has been going on just in the last few weeks. So, yes, I have to be on top of it. Not that things aren't always going on, because they are.
Yeah.
But
Mexican thing the Mexican thing really surprised me.
I know.
It seems like it's gone away.
I know. It kind of just disappeared.
It disappeared. Anyway, we'll be back. There's lots more to talk about. Stay with us.
What if my parents suddenly need help? This is Kevin Tharp, elder law and estate planning attorney, and I've helped many people in your situation. With sound advice and planning, there's no reason why you can't help your loved ones as they need extended care late in life. It's up to you, however, to make the first call. Visit my website at kevintharp.com and learn how to get help planning for your family's future.
You ever wonder why Verizon charges twice as much as Pure Talk for the same basic service? Think it might have something to do with the fact that Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion? That's billion with a B? Yeah. Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. That's why they can offer unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Save an additional 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say the words Micro. That's pound 250, Micro.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday. Let's do this Monday. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
3 straight for Tyler Reddick. He gets it done here at Austin, Texas.
I don't know how many times I've won 3 in a row as a racer in general in my lifetime, so I'll try to go to Phoenix and make it 4.
Will he make it a 4-peat? We'll find out at the Straight Talk Wireless 500 in Phoenix, Sunday at 2:30 on North Georgia's home of NASCAR. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10:30.
Fox News, I'm Therese Crowley. Operation Epic Fury, where we stand. Fox's Nate Foy.
President Trump says a big wave of American attacks is coming soon. The U.S. has also sunk 11 Iranian ships. Defense officials tell Fox Iran only has small boats left, but still could mine the Strait of Hormuz. Iran says it's closed. The U.S. says it is not.
AAA says the national average price of gas up 11 cents a gallon overnight. The dead now 6 U.S. service members. Israel says 1,000 enemy combatants killed, with Iran's missile capability degraded 50%. The U.S. continues pounding Iran missiles and command and control. President Trump hosting German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who says this is the moment to stand together in unity. Democrats don't feel the same. More members being briefed today who want to limit the president's war powers as Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem speaks in the Senate. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
WDUN. From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. Colin Gray's trial is wrapping up in Barrow County Superior Court this week. Father of alleged Appalachia High School shooter Colt Gray is accused of allowing Colt access to the gun used in the fatal 2024 attack. Prosecuting attorney Patricia Brooks told jurors in closing arguments Monday that Colin shares the blame for the shooting.
After seeing sign after sign of his son's deteriorating mental state, his violence, his school shooter obsession, the defendant has sufficient warning that his son was a bomb just waiting to go off.
You can see the latest developments in the trial at Access WDUN. State Republicans are trying to overhaul the way Georgians vote in elections, as GNN's Rocio Rivera reports.
We are on a collision course as it relates to how we vote in Georgia elections.
That's State Senator Greg Dolezal speaking at the state capitol yesterday. He's sponsoring a bill that would assign early voters to a specific polling place and require paper ballots. Dolezal says Georgia's voting system is currently compromised.
I know that there were thousands of missing ballot images in the November 2020 election in Fulton County, and that the recount that was done in Fulton County was a sham.
But not all lawmakers agree, like Senate Democratic leader Harold Jones.
Change the whole way we vote for basically 14 total complaints.
If the bill passes, Georgia voters will see 2 different voting systems in one election year.
You'll find more news online at Access WDUN. Now, here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
North Georgia, we've got mainly cloudy skies into the afternoon. Upper 50s for highs. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Lows in the upper 40s by early tomorrow. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Clayton, 45 degrees. Decula, 48. And in Gainesville, 47. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Has being aimless ever put you at your wit's end? Hi, this is Whit Martin, pastor of Asbury Chapel. There are times in life when we feel aimless, living like we're just wandering through each day and wondering what it is that we should be doing. It's a feeling that means we're searching for purpose, like there's something we know we should put our hands to. The Bible says in Ephesians 2:10, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand, that we should walk in them." Christians find their purpose in the work of God. God has created us to do works that are good in His eyes, and such work rescues us from an aimless and wandering life. We can have confidence about what to do if we put our hands to the work God is doing. If we will search the Scriptures and learn the ways of God, we'll always be able to engage the work of God, driven with purpose and peace about who we are and what we should do. And that is Wit's End. Asbury Chapel invites you to learn more by joining us at 758 Main Street or visit asburychapel.net for more info.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
A good friend of mine, an Israeli, who is about my age. He's got a young family, and they're huddled in a bomb shelter right now with a newborn child with several young daughters. And I asked him, what should the world know about how you're feeling? And he said two things. First, morale is high. They're exhausted and worse, but they know they're in it to win it. And number two, that they feel a sense of solidarity, not just with Americans who are supporting them, but also with Saudis and Emiratis who are going through the same thing. And I think the Iranian regime needs to understand that sense of we're in it to win it, and there's solidarity. The world is not going to accept this terror regime continuing to operate.
So that was Jake Osenschloss, I hope I'm saying that right, who is in the kind of Kennedy orbit. And so CNN did not expect him to give this positive message about what was happening in Israel and Iran. And I love it when that happens, when they think they're getting somebody on and they think they're getting one thing, and then they end up getting something else. Michael Levine's here with me today as we get together every other week, and we're going to talk about a couple of things today. We're going to talk about a little bit about California politics because everything's on the table there. But, you know, we now in the last few days, Michael, have had this attack on Iran by Israel and the United States with some help from, other Arab countries. We played some audio earlier of Kuwaitis helping to recover an American pilot who had to eject out of their plane, and being so thankful that they're getting the help they need in ending the regime in Iran. Now, I'm a lot more optimistic in general than you are, and that's why I wanted to have you on, because I wanted to know what your thoughts were as we're a few days into this event.
Well, you know, we've discussed, Martha, prophecy is dubious business. But in the early innings, American Israel are doing extremely well, and our friends in Iran, at least the Ayatollah's team, is doing extremely poorly. So that does not define the end of the game. Many twists and turns happen along the way, but in the early moments, or the early days, I should say, America has performed exceptionally well, as has Israel, and our Iranian friends, or at least our militant, radically Iranian friends, have underperformed significantly. We'll see.
Now, there was a
that's
very
the scoreboard in the early innings,
and there was a very large. Well, there were very large protests in New York, in Washington, a huge one in Los Angeles, which was a sight I thought I would never see. Iranian flags, Jewish flags, and American flags protesting peacefully, cheering about what was happening.
Yeah, look, the world has had to, for 4 decades, live with a mad, radical, terrorist, proudly terrorist, or a nation. And at a given point, I think the world has said, or large parts of the world, enough, we're done. I heard the phrase earlier, we're in it to win it. I believe that. We've just had enough. It's gone on too long, way too long. And by the way, 2 other presidents who have preceded Donald Trump, and we can list them: Biden, Obama, Bush, and even I mean, you have to ask. Over the last 40 years, 45 years, a long time to put up with this. And they have been unrelenting in their terrorist expansions, ideas. And, you know, the world, I think, has just had enough.
Yeah, and even after being bombed in June with their nuclear facilities, they're just out there trying to build them somewhere else.
Correct. That is correct.
And
that's it. And they indicated, I believe, to Mr. In some of the negotiations that they already had enough nuclear material for 11 nuclear bombs. Now, let's say that's just exaggeration. It wasn't really 11. Let's say it was just 3, 2, 5. Come on, man. Are you going to let those insane radicals who worship death and have plainly said that their mission is to wipe Israel off the face of the earth, you're going to allow this group of radical terrorists to have nuclear weapons? I don't know what planet that you could conceive that to be logical in.
And the other question that I have for you is to bring it a little back home to California, because the last poll that I saw, you guys have kind of this weird jungle primary thing, right, where you don't have separate primaries. And the two people at the top of the list were Republicans.
Yep.
Do you think that's going to hold?
Well, look, we have, again, prophecy's dubious business, but I will say this. You've got, I believe, 9 Democrats, one crazier than the next, which, by the way, is an asset in California, right? When you hear me say on the radio, one crazier than the next, you think that's very pejorative. That's an asset in California. Are you kidding me? That's considered positive. So you've got 9 of these people running for office on the Democratic side, which will divide the vote tremendously, offering a potential victory path for one of the Republicans. And if I had to pick, I'd say probably Steve Hilton is probably has a little asset advantage, but it's hard to know. California has had, for the last 15 years, again, a long period of time, over a decade, almost a suicidal urge, right? It's as if a state, the large, the most populous state in America, has yearned, almost like an alcoholic, to commit suicide. And I know these are very dramatic phrases I'm using, but the question is not whether they're dramatic. The question is whether they're true, right? What other state could, with so much asset, could engineer such catastrophic failure?
My husband and his family moved to Los Angeles in 1971, and they lived there until about 1985, and then they retired and moved back here to Georgia. But during that period of time, they lived there, and it was the most fabulous place in the world to live.
Paradise.
Education
I was here.
Yes.
I was here. It was paradise.
Education was cheap. You could make a good living whether you had a college education or not.
Yep.
There were great places to live, work, and play. And the people that I hear now saying how much they love California, they'll say the weather's good, okay?
Yep.
And
let me tell you 3 things I hear over and over again from Californians. It's a disaster, but the weather's good. It's expensive, but the weather's good. It's unlivable, but the weather's good.
Yeah.
Did I mention that the weather's good?
That's right. It's so true. And you've got, it's just in 15 years, maybe 20, that paradise was dismantled.
Correct.
Where
and
the only people that say, well, let me finish this. The only people that say it's good live in gated communities. But go ahead.
By the way, I live in a gated community. Thank you very much.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
You worked hard for that.
Now, let me mention something. If we then analyze autopsy like a doctor, what happened 15 or 20 years ago that was catastrophic to the state of California? Well, many things, many bad decisions, many things. But top on the list, are you ready? Top on the list?
Okay.
Illegal immigration. Illegal immigration. The state was flooded with and then allowed and celebrated illegal immigration. Dear friends, don't be mad at me. That's just the truth. If you don't like it, imagine taking we all have driven in cars that have 4 or 5 seat capacity, right? Imagine your car that has a 4 or 5 seat capacity, right? And now you stuff in 8 people in that car. 8 people in the 4 or 5 seat car, 3 of whom who don't speak English. How's that car ride going for you, friends? With 8 people in the car, 3 who don't speak English. Is that a fun ride?
That is not a fun ride. Michael Levine, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you. We'll take a break.
Real-time news lives in your pocket.
You can rely on it.
Keep up with your community. Download the AccessWDUN.com app today. Powered by North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Spring is calling. Are you ready to grow? At Full Bloom Nursery, we're kicking off the spring season with 5 acres of perennial shrubs and trees, all ready for your next outdoor project. This is Julie. I'd like to invite you to come experience the difference of a true nursery. Take a stroll through our display gardens and let our knowledgeable staff help you choose the perfect plant for your space. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and Saturday from 9 to 2. Learn more at fullbloomnursery.com and follow us on Facebook to see what's growing.
Hey folks, Todd Starnes here. When it comes to keeping pests out of your home, Mark Turner at Select Pest Control has it figured out. As the name implies, you get to select whether you want their professional team to take care of those pesky pests, or if you'd rather do it yourself, visit their retail store on Brownsbridge Road in Gainesville. Since 1993, Mark and his great staff have offered professional service, products, and advice to North Georgia. Visit them online at selectpest.net, or better yet, stop by Select Pest Control today and tell them Todd sent you.
Nobody wants to talk about septic services until there's a problem.
We're here to help. At SNS Septic, we are here 24 hours a day to help when you need us.
As a 4th-generation business, we know that SNS Septic is the one to call for pumping, repairs, installations, and more. We cover residential, commercial, and government projects. If you have septic or plumbing problems, call us.
That's right. You can find us on the web at septicga.com.
Call SNS Septic today to set up an inspection of your system and have everything taken care of before it all hits the fan.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Shoot your shot on Prize Picks and get $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting. So don't miss this chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code ROAM. Get a $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. That's code ROAM on Prize Picks to get a $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get $50 bonus credit in lineups just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. It's going to be right. You do have to be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, beginning Monday, March 9th, Franmar Drive South in Northern Hall County closes for the Sardis Connector Project. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
My heartfelt condolences to the families who have lost their heroes, who sacrificed their lives for freedom. Their bravery and dedication will always be remembered. I extend my earnest wishes for a swift and smooth recovery to all those who have been injured. You are in my thoughts and prayers during these challenging times. The U.S. stands with all of the children throughout the world. I hope soon peace will be yours.
That's Melania Trump. It's the first time that a first lady has stood in for her husband at the United Nations. And I think, it was on the issue of children and all the children that have been lost or been displaced. There's something like 475 million children in the world that have had to move from one place to another in the last, few years, and that's something that she works on. GG Mack is here with me today. She's really something, isn't she? Yeah. She's really
amazing.
Something.
Yes. Yeah, she really is.
She really is. She really is. It's something that we think that what is the role of a first lady, and I think she's carving that out. I like the fact that she's taken on the issues that she has. Now, we got a question in that I want to get to. This is a little bit serious. It says, it's from a texter that said, I know there's a lot going on, but I was curious if you have any comment about the Hall County Sheriff being arrested for DUI. It seems like a topic of community interest. And what I'm going to say about that, first of all, always full disclosure, my husband and I own a business that does business with the Hall County, it's called Correctional Nursing Services, and we help provide the mental health care and the medical care at the Hall County Detention Center. We did not interact with Sheriff Couch when he was arrested because he was bonded out immediately. He did not do any of that. I think that I agree with his lawyer, Blake Poole, in saying that we need to let the legal process play out in this area. I don't, for whatever reason, I never hear these. Since this has happened, I have heard a lot of people say, oh, yeah, I've heard rumors about this or that. I don't know if it's because people are afraid I'm going to talk about it on the air or whatever. I generally don't, people don't come to me with gossip, generally. So I'm glad about that. So the only thing I would say about this is that I trust the Hall County Sheriff's Department and the Georgia State Patrol to have done their job in the arrest that they made. And that I believe, and I've known Gerald Couch for years. I consider him a friend. And I think that he deserves his day in court, just like he has helped as he's been sheriff and been in law enforcement his whole career, helped other people get their day in court. So I'm not trying to not take a side in this. I just don't think it's appropriate to take a side yet. I think he deserves his day in court. Now, I do know from a logistics standpoint, the only person that can remove him from office is the governor. And I don't think it's risen to that point yet. And I think that he deserves his day in court like everybody else gets their day in court. It's an unfortunate incident, regardless of what the details are. And I do believe that the Hall County Sheriff's Department and the Georgia State Patrol did their jobs in this particular situation. So on a separate issue, though, and I'm not taking a side, but on a separate issue, there is no excuse in today's world of drinking and driving. Okay, there are cars you can call, there are friends you can call, there are other things that are out there. And if you are a person that's dealing with substance abuse or alcohol abuse, there is a lot of help out there that you can get, from something as basic as a 12-step program or something like that you can go to a rehab program there is something. But the thing about whether it's alcohol or substance abuse, there is nothing you and I can do about it until the person that has the substance abuse problem wants to make a change. That is the sad thing about it. So, again, I'm not going to make any specific comments about the case. I'm going to let it play out in court. I have, certainly I would say to the sheriff's attorney as well as to the sheriff, he is more than welcome here to tell his story anytime he wants to. But I do appreciate the question that you had because it is a shocking thing. I've seen the stuff since this has happened. I've seen the postings on Facebook. I've seen what people are saying. But again, you got to take all that stuff with a grain of salt, and you need to remember you're dealing with somebody's life here and their liberty and their way of making a living, and you want to be accurate in everything that you report. So I know that's a long answer to that question. I hope that did answer your question. You never know what we're going to talk about here on the Martha Zoller Show. So anyway, so GG Mack's here with me today. We appreciate the contribution she made to My Sister's Place to be able to be a part of the show today. Thank you. I hope it was everything you hoped it would be.
Oh, I have loved it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And there are so many things that happen in this community. And what I try to do here is make this like a conversation because I don't think people sit around and talk about the same thing all day long.
No, that's true.
They talk about, and my kids will tell you that I jump around to different subjects, without anything in there. But I do think that there's a lot of things that will be happening related to, what's happening in our community, but also around the world. We like to call it Around the Corner and Around the World. We talk about
Love that.
Yeah. So if people want to know more about you and the work you do, how can they find that out?
My website is ggmacktravel.com, and that's ggmacktravel.com. My email is the same, gg@ggmacktravel.com. And I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. GG Mack Lux Travel, and that's LUXE Travel on Instagram.
How do you use social media in your business?
Oh my gosh, I live on social media.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say the majority of my clients have come from social media.
Would you say it's more from Facebook than from other things?
Mostly Facebook. It started as Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm on TikTok now. I'm on Instagram now, so I also get clients from that.
I tried TikTok for about 4 months. And I started getting really weird stuff in my feed.
Yeah, I do too.
Yes,
and I basically kind of post and then leave.
So I'm on there. Yeah, I'm on there, and I don't post. I just kind of see what comes up.
Yeah.
But I do. I have a social media company that helps me, and
that's nice.
They do like 3 posts a week on LinkedIn, Instagram,
I'm on there too.
And Facebook. Mm-hmm. I don't do the TikTok. I don't do, a lot of
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I thought it would be a great way to put out like short videos promoting the show.
Exactly.
But it got weird real fast.
It does, and I do get better engagement on TikTok than anything else.
Oh, okay.
Which is great.
Well, they advertise how good they are for small business.
And exactly, and I'm trying to reach a younger crowd, the busy professionals that want to travel. So I think TikTok would be good.
Us old folks.
I mean, anyway, I like the old folks too because I am old.
That's right. GG Mack, thank you for being with me today.
Martha.